Welcome back, everyone. This is the start of our next episode. We will be getting the Dodge Ram ready for paint. So that's going to consist of is I'm going to start off with 400 grit sandpaper with a block, and we're going to block out all this primer on the door and the rest of the truck. That way we can get any last waves or imperfection out of it so it's perfectly straight, and once we get the paint on there, you won't be able to tell that there was anything ever done to it. So, I'm going to get to work, start sanding, getting it ready for paint. Alright, so we started sanding on this. As you can see, I just went over it really lightly, and the reason I did that is you can see it's sanding nice and even with the block. So what that's telling me is I don't have any low spots or any high spots. I mean, there's a slight little high spot here. There's a couple like little tiny things here and there. I'll just continue to work these out with the block. Once I get it where I'm happy, I'm just going to go over it with the DA because that's going to save me a lot of time. Right now I'm just going with the block by hand. That way I can ensure that the door is perfect, and once I'm happy with it, I'm going to go over it with the DA to get it to, well, I'll show you guys once I get there that what I'm going to leave it at before when it's ready for paint. Oh, and also this round block, I'm using this for this right here, because if I use a regular block, it's going to cut lines in there, and this block, it fits perfectly in there, so that way I can get a nice smooth even finish inside this area right there. Alright, since we got the door pretty much prepped, I'm going to concentrate on this because the first step that I want to do is paint this jamb, cut the door in on the inside, and do this apron. That way I can hang the door on there and paint the truck all in one shot. So I'm going to concentrate on this. This is very tedious, time consuming because you got to do everything by hand. Sandpaper gets clogged up pretty fast with the primer. So we're just going to go at it until it's done. Alright guys, so we got the door scuffed up, ready to cut this in so we can hang the door on the truck. We're also leaving these hinges on here. We're going to cut everything in with the hinges on there because you can see this used door. They painted everything separately or afterwards. It's all chipped up. Everything's where it needs to be. We're going to paint everything there. That way when you open up the door, it doesn't look like it's been painted. Everything looks factory, looks nice and neat, and don't have any extra questions about what happened there. And that's why we're going to paint those with those on there. So that way the bolts and everything gets painted, it looks factory. We're going to untape all of this to get rid of all this primer because we're going to have to replace all that paper anyway. Once we get ready to paint this, I haven't scuffed any of this up. Just in case if there's any overspray or anything else that lands on this, I gotta sand it anyway. So the first step right now is gonna be I have this pillar. Everything is nice and sanded. Had the primer all sanded out. Everything's nice and smooth. I don't have any sharp lines or anything. Everything's nice, smooth transition. Once you get the paint on there, it'll look exactly the same. We got the A-pillar, everything all done. So right now the main objective is going to be to clean this all out, tape everything up because we're going to be painting everything. We're going to get color up to there, clear coat, and then we're going to blend it. And same thing up here is going to get color to about there where we rubbed through or we had some body work done, and then the rest will just get re-cleared. And once that is done, we will be untaping everything. Once this cures, we're going to hang the door, and then we're going to block the rest of this primer out
and get that ready for paint. So we're gonna have to tape up the truck twice, but just needs to be done that way, even though it's a lot of work. And second of all, I gotta clean up this mess that I got going on here because we're gonna paint the truck right here. All clean. We got everything all cleaned up, got that corner cleaned up. Put a tarp here to protect the stuff that's on the shelves and parts like that. So the next part is I'm going to take off the tape or the paper, all this paper off because it's going to need to be taken off anyway because it's got primer and dust and everything else like that. So we're going to take all this off, going to clean everything up, and then we're going to start taping it up. It's going to be quite a process for just painting this small area, but it's necessary to protect the rest of the truck from any kind of overspray or anything else that would create more work in the end of it. So let's get everything off of here and then start taping it. Alright, got some paint supplies, got some PPE, got some paint, some scratch brite that we ran out of, a couple other things that we ran out of, so we'll be ready to paint pretty soon. We only had one medium. Open this up, see what we got. Looks like straight black, but it's got a lot of metallic and pearls in it compared to the truck. It's hard to say, but yep, that looks like it's it. Another thing that I've found helpful, I got these little earth magnets. They're really strong, and I can just basically go around. That way I don't have to try taping any of this, and it'll keep the plastic down from flopping around with the fan going and everything. Alright, now we're gonna use some wax and grease remover. Make sure that the area is not contaminated with anything with us touching it while I was prepping it. Medium, perfect temperature right now. It's about 75 degrees in the shop. Alright, so I got the car paint tacked off, got paint in the gun. Let's see what happens. So we got our first coat on there. We're gonna let it tack off or flash off. Let it do its thing, adhere. Make sure that all the reducer evaporates and it sticks. Once it's all nice and matte finished, like you can see right here, it's still a little glossy. You got to make sure that everything gets nice and matte, and then we can come back with the second coat. Okay, so the base is done. Time for the clear coat. I like using this Roberlo 4-to-1 clear. Haven't had any issues with it. Nice and durable. Keeps its shine. Easy to buff if needed. It's a 4-to-1, so we're going to find the 4-to-1 mixing ratio. And I like to reduce it just a tiny bit also. Helps it flow out better, and just always done it this way, so it's what works for me. Alright, so it's my finger sticks to like where the paper is and the paint, so we're good to go. I'm going to do the second coat, and then once I do the second coat, you can see it's a little dry here where I have the tape rolled up, and the same thing on top. I'm going to do it the same way, and then I'm going to come back with a blender. I'm going to go all the way to the tape, take the tape off, and hopefully, I've done it once, and hopefully it'll work out the same way. Once I take the tape off, everything that's left over there will just kind of melt in, and there'll be a minimal line left over for the blend. Okay, so we got everything done, got the gun all cleaned up. Got a little bit of dirt, but I think that mostly came out when I untaped this. As you can see, there's still dirt there. But for the most part, very clean. It's a door jamb, it's not going to be that noticeable. I think it turned out pretty good. Everything flowed out. And then the blends that I was trying to accomplish there, that worked out too. There's no line. Everything melted out. So I'm really happy with that. The door turned out really good too. As you can see, everything flowed out nice, but on top of that, no runs at the same time. So really happy with this. Everything looks good. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and don't forget to catch the next video. The next video, we will be hanging the door and getting the rest of the truck ready for paint and get that painted, and then it'll just be left to reassemble it. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.